Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird is one of the greatest American heroes in both cinema and literature. He's both an everyday hero and a classic hero, having simple values in a complex world. Now, while this video will be mostly Atticus from the film, as the book is more of a coming-of-age film, I will be giving details from the novel about his character that adds to his already established character in the film. So, let's take a look. Also, feel free to like, share, and hit the bell. Also comment below if you want me to look over any heroes. Before we can truly appreciate Atticus as a hero, we have to step into the world he inhabits, Maycomb, Alabama. Picture a small southern town where time seems to stand still, the air hangs heavy with humidity, the streets sink into mud after every rain, and weeds creep across the sidewalks as if reclaiming the land. Maycomb isn't just old, it feels worn, steeped in generations of tradition, yet stubbornly unmoved by the progress shaping the rest of America. Life drifts by at a slow, drowsy pace, mirroring the town's quiet resistance to change. Maycomb may have been stagnant, but its people wore that stagnation like a badge of honor. In the 1930s, a decade of upheaval across America, this little town clung to its identity as one of the oldest in the South. That history gave them a sense of pride and comfort. But then came the Great Depression. Poverty spread, jobs vanished, days grew slower, heavier, until Maycomb felt like a shell of its former self. President Roosevelt promised, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." Yet in Maycomb, those words rang hollow. They clung to tradition, to rigid social structures, as if guarding the past was the only way to survive in the future. Most troubling is racism. As a southern town with a history of slavery, its social hierarchy remains deeply entrenched. African Americans live on the margins, and any challenge to their racial order feels like a threat to Maycomb's way of life. This prejudice blinds the townspeople to injustice, whether directed at black citizens or at figures like Boo Radley. Harper Lee calls this blindness the usual disease, a sickness that prevents Maycomb from seeing the truth and fairness, precisely the disease Atticus must confront. To understand Atticus, we also need to look at the Finch family itself. Their story begins with Simon Finch, who fled England to escape religious persecution. In America, he built a cotton plantation with the labor of enslaved people, which made his family wealthy, but much of that fortune was lost during the Civil War. What remained was the land passed down through generations, until Atticus and his brother Jack chose to break the tradition and pursue lives beyond the plantation. Atticus' path led to him focusing on law. He apprenticed at a local office in Maycomb, training to become a lawyer, guided by the principles of justice, truth, and honesty, and the belief that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. He built a career rooted in fairness. In a small town like Maycomb, this made him not only respected, but deeply connected to its people. From this history, we can infer that Atticus carries a sense of regret for his family's past. Simon Finch's choice to abandon his religious principles for wealth through slavery may have weighed heavily on Atticus, leaving a moral scar. The loss of the family fortune during the Civil War also probably shaped him, instilling a sense of what was gone and what could never be reclaimed. Yet Atticus' decision to leave the plantation behind and dedicate himself to law reveals his independence and determination. He carved his own path, relying less on tradition and more on personal integrity. In many ways, his journey taught him more than conventional parenting ever could, like lessons of resilience, self-reliance, and moral responsibility. Although we don't know every detail on Atticus' early years in Maycomb, we can infer that he quickly became a respected member of the community. Despite not being born there, he built strong relationships with the townspeople, showing empathy, politeness. He rarely judges others openly, and even when he disagreed, he did so calmly, without raising his voice. This composure stood out in a town as stagnant and prejudiced as Maycomb. One example comes early in the story when Mr. Bowes insults his children. Instead of responding with anger, Atticus compliments her flowers, diffusing her hostility. This moment illustrates his ability to treat others with dignity, even when they are cruel. Similarly, He defends the Radleys' right to privacy, refusing to join in the town's gossip and insisting they are entitled to live quietly as long as they are not breaking any laws. His respect extends to his household as well. He treats Calpurnia, his African-American maid, not as a servant, but as a co-guardian of his children. He consistently supports her authority, showing that he sees her as an equal adult. Another defining aspect of Atticus's character is his relationship with guns. Known as One-Shot Finch, he was once recognized for his skill, though his children, Scout and Jem, are surprised to learn this. Unlike other fathers in Maycomb County, Atticus avoids traditionally manly pursuits, such as hunting, fishing, or sports. Instead, he devotes himself to reading. This makes him seem older and less exciting compared to Jem's friends' fathers, and Jem even feels embarrassed by his father's lack of conventional hobbies. Yet this difference reveals Atticus's independence. He doesn't care about conforming to others' expectations. The reason he seemingly gave up on shooting was because God had given him an unfair advantage. This reveals his humility and moral integrity. He refuses to use his talents for show or self-glorification. When he does use a gun, such as when he shoots the rabid dog, it's only out of necessity, not pride. We can trace this humility back to his upbringing. His father once told him that while he might be tempted to shoot birds, it is a sin to kill a mockingbird, since they do nothing but sing and bring beauty to the world. This lesson shaped Atticus's values, teaching him to respect innocence and avoid unnecessary harm. This also reflects his tendency to go above and beyond in mastering skills, whether with a gun or in his legal training. His dedication to the law is not just professional, it is personal. He carries the principles of justice, fairness, and truth into every aspect of his life, including his role as a father. His constant reading suggests that he seeks wisdom not only for his career, but for how to live and raise his children. Atticus is not only a father to Jem and Scout, he is their role model. Jem often complains that Atticus is dull compared to other fathers, since he doesn't hunt, fish, or show off his physical skills. Yet beneath this immaturity, Jem clearly respects him. He even insists on calling his father Atticus rather than Dad, a choice Scout follows. This small detail shows that Jem sees Atticus as more than a parent, he sees him as someone worthy of respect. Both children feel a sense of reverence in his presence, even if they don't always admit it. Jem absorbs many of Atticus's lessons about kindness, courage, and responsibility. He shows kindness when he invites Walter Cunningham to dinner, and courage when he refuses to leave Atticus alone with the lynch mob. Jem's youthful recklessness sometimes turns Atticus's lessons into peril. Standing up to a lynch mob nearly cost him his life. Yet his instinct to shield Scout, even against Bob Ewell, reveals how deeply those teachings shaped him into someone both with courage and responsibility. Scout, meanwhile, learns differently. As the younger child, she is curious, innocent, and eager to understand the world. Atticus never talks down to her. Instead, he explains complex ideas with honesty and maturity, treating her as if she were an adult. One of his most important lessons is that you never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it. This advice helped Scout empathize with her teacher after a frustrating incident, and later with Mr. Cunningham, whose humanity she recognizes even as he joins the lynch mob. Her words ultimately dispenses the crowd, showing how deeply Atticus's wisdom has taken root. Scout's growth continues with Boo Radley. At first, she is fascinated yet frightened by him, echoing the town's gossip. But as she notices his quiet acts of kindness, small gifts left for her and Jem, her perspective shifts. When Boo saves the children from Bob Ewell, Scout greets him like a friend and walks him home. She even tells Atticus that exposing Boo would be like killing a mockingbird, directly applying his lesson about protecting innocence. In that moment, Scout fully embodies her father's teachings. Now we arrive at one of the most defining aspects of Atticus Finch's character, when he is asked to defend Tom Robinson, a black man falsely accused of assault. No one else in the town is willing to take the case, But Atticus, however, accepts it without hesitation. More importantly, he treats Tom with the same respect and fairness he gives to any client. He meets Tom's family and ensures that his voice is heard in court. This decision immediately puts Atticus at odds with the deeply prejudiced community of Maycomb. To them, Tom Robinson represents a threat to their way of life, and by defending him, Atticus becomes a threat as well, despite being a respected citizen. Much of the town turns against him, yet Atticus remains unfazed. He explains that if he refused the case, he could not live with himself, nor could he teach Jem and Scout about honesty and integrity. To abandon Tom simply because of racist ideals would mean abandoning the very values he holds dear. This choice reveals Atticus's moral courage and unwavering integrity. Atticus's determination may also stem from his family history. One of his ancestors, Simon Finch, gained wealth and privilege, but compromised his principles to fit in. Atticus seems determined not to repeat that mistake. He takes pride in living by his code of ethics, not for recognition, but because it's the right thing to do. This is echoed in the famous scene with the rabid dog. Atticus only uses his skill with a rifle because it is necessary, not to show off. Likewise, he defends Tom because the case must be fought, even though no one else wants it. His courage is further demonstrated when he faces the lynch mob outside of Tom's jail cell. Atticus stands calmly, refusing to move or escalate the situation. He simply tells the men to go home, knowing full well that this could cost him his life. Still, he chooses to protect Tom. Throughout the movie, Atticus maintains a quiet, non-combative attitude. He avoids conflict whenever possible, preferring to diffuse the tension rather than provoke it. This is not naivete, but empathy. He listens to people's concerns, treats them with respect, and never talks down to the townsfolk of Maycomb. Yet he also knows when someone like Bob Ewell can't be reasoned with. When Ewell spits in his face, Atticus simply wipes it off and walks away, recognizing that engaging further would be pointless. During the trial, Atticus lays out the truth with precision. He shows that Tom is innocent. There is no medical evidence of assault. The testimonies of Mayella and Bob Ewell contradict themselves, and Tom's physical disability makes the accusations impossible. In his closing argument, Atticus condemns Maycomb's usual disease, the racism that blinds people to justice. He explains that Mayella's shame over kissing a black man led her to accuse Tom, and the town's prejudice allowed that falsehood to stand. In his closing argument, he turns to the jury and reminds them, in our courts, all men are created equal. In the name of God, do your duty. This plea shows his deep commitment to the ideals of truth, justice, and the principle that a man is innocent until proven guilty. Unfortunately, the court fails to uphold these values. The jury has already judged Tom guilty before the trial even ends. Their dishonesty and prejudice led directly to the tragedy of Tom Robinson. He dies while attempting to escape prison, convinced that no court would ever give him a fair chance. At the end of the story, when Bob Ewell is killed by Boo Radley, Atticus initially believes Jem is responsible. Guided by his strict moral code, he tries to frame the situation as self-defense. But Sheriff Tate insists that Bob Ewell fell on his own knife. He urges Atticus to let the matter rest, recognizing that exposing Boo Radley would destroy his quiet life for simply doing the right thing. Atticus finally understands, sometimes protecting innocence means bending the rules. Scout puts it best, revealing Boo would be like shooting a mockingbird. Atticus Finch's heroism is not measured by winning the trial, but by the lessons he instills in his children. His quiet strength lies in shaping the next generation with integrity and compassion. The trial unfortunately exposes Maycomb's deepest flaws, its prejudice, and the way it corrupts justice. Yet Atticus stands firm in his beliefs. His defiance against hatred, carried out simply as a part of his duty, reveals a heroism that is steady, humble, and deeply admirable. Though Atticus did not change Maycomb overnight, the trial revealed both the best and worst in the community. It exposed Bob Ewell's cowardness when he targeted Atticus's children, and it even influenced Sheriff Tate, who reconsidered exposing Arthur Radley. Jem and Scout will continue to carry forward their father's lessons. And for that, Atticus remains the true hero of To Kill a Mockingbird. Thanks for watching.